This is the story of a girl who struggles with her weight, but everything changes when she finds a pair of magical shoes that turn her into a beautiful princess. In a fairy tale island, humans, witches, monsters, and dragons all lived together in peace. Everyone was happy, until one day, everything changed. Out of nowhere, a dragon attacked the kingdom. Seeing the danger, a group of 7 brave princes known as the Fearless Seven stepped in to stop it. These princes were famous far and wide for their courage. Working together, they easily defeated the dragon and rescued a princess. But when they got closer, they realized something shocking. That princess was actually a witch. Without thinking, they attacked her. But turns out she wasn't a witch at all. She was a fairy. Angered by their actions, the fairy cursed all 7 princes. She said that until they receive a kiss from the most beautiful girl in the world, they would remain trapped in the form of ugly green dwarves. 7 years later, we see a witch named Regina. She walks toward a magical tree in the center of her palace. As sunlight hits the tree, its apples transform into magical shoes. When Regina wears them, she begins to turn into a beautiful woman, but only for a few moments before returning to her original form. Frustrated and angry, she leaves. At the same time, we are introduced to Princess Snow White, who is overweight and often hides herself. One night, she secretly enters the palace. But suddenly, a small wooden guard placed there by Regina shows up. Snow White quickly hides under a table, where she finds a diary belonging to her father, the king. As she reads it, we learn the truth. Her father once ruled the kingdom happily, but one day, soldiers brought Regina to him, claiming she was a dangerous witch spreading chaos with her magic. However, Regina was so beautiful that the king fell in love with her and married her. At first, everything seemed fine, but soon, Regina began using dark magic to take control of the kingdom. People started getting hurt, and fear spread everywhere. One day, the king saw Regina talking to a mysterious tree and realized something was terribly wrong. To protect his daughter, he sent Snow White away from the kingdom. After that, no one knows what happened to the king. Reading all this breaks Snow White's heart. Just then, she notices the magical tree inside the palace and is completely shocked. Meanwhile, Regina is on her way back to the tree. As she opens the door, a bright light shines out, because Snow White has already taken the magical shoes and put them on. Instantly, she transforms from an overweight girl into a stunningly beautiful princess, so much so that Regina doesn't even recognize her. Regina tries to take the shoes back, but Snow White manages to escape by riding away on the wooden guard's magical broom. Furious, Regina sends her wooden soldiers to find her. On the other side, we see the 7 cursed princes, now dwarves, returning to their home. There, they find the princess lying unconscious on the bed. The moment they see her beauty, they are completely amazed and realize she might be the one who can break their curse. But by mistake, one of them thinks she's a witch and knocks her out again. When Snow White wakes up, she finds herself inside the dwarf's house. Looking into a mirror, she's shocked, realizing that the magical shoes have turned her into a beautiful princess. She then asks the dwarves for help in finding her father, and without hesitation, they agree. Meanwhile, we meet Prince Merlot, who is preparing for his birthday party. He wants to invite the most beautiful people in the kingdom, but everyone is too busy, and no one shows up. Feeling sad and embarrassed, he sits alone until Regina arrives. She shows him a picture of the princess and tells him that this girl has stolen something valuable from her. She promises that if he captures her, he'll not only help her, but also have the most beautiful girl at his birthday party. Hearing this, Prince Merlot sets out with his soldiers to find the princess. On the other side, we see the princess again. As soon as she takes off the magical shoes, she turns back into her real form, Snow White. And surprisingly, she actually feels happy being herself. Just then, one of the dwarves walks in. Thinking quickly, she manages to send him away. But right after that, she spots someone outside who looks like her father, and without wasting a second, she runs off to find him. Meanwhile, Merlin is busy reading a love book, trying to figure out how to impress the princess. At this moment, he's in his real form, because whenever no one is looking at the dwarves, they turn back into their original human selves. When Merlin sees the princess heading into the forest, he decides to follow her. Back at the house, the rest of the dwarves are preparing gifts to impress the princess. But when Arthur enters Merlin's room, he finds the love book lying there and instantly realizes Merlin likes her too. This makes Arthur angry, and he storms off to confront him. In the next scene, the princess is searching for her father in the forest, when suddenly, a giant wooden bear appears. Just as it's about to attack her, Merlin shows up in time. Using his magic, he pushes the bear back and grabs the princess, and they both start running, but the giant bear is still chasing them. So Merlin stops and tells her to keep running without looking back. Because of the curse, whenever no one is watching them, the dwarfs return to their real forms, and their powers become much stronger. Merlin prepares to fight the bear, but before he can finish it, the princess turns back to look at him, and instantly, he turns back into a dwarf. The giant bear crushes Merlin and continues chasing the princess. Now she runs as fast as she can, until she reaches the edge of a cliff with nowhere left to go. The giant bear slowly approaches her, but at the last second, Arthur jumps in and knocks the bear unconscious. Right after that, Merlin and the other dwarfs arrive in a giant robot-like machine. Since Arthur just saved her life, the princess starts getting impressed by him. As they walk back together, Arthur tries to act cool and even asks her for a kiss. But instead of kissing him, she slaps him hard on the face, and everyone bursts out laughing. Later, the group makes a plan to find the princess's father. The next day, Arthur personally goes with her to search in the city, while the others spread out to look in different places. During their journey, they reach the legendary sword of King Arthur. Surprisingly, the princess pulls the sword out effortlessly, but no matter how hard Arthur tries, he can't pull it out. This makes him feel embarrassed and upset. However, when the princess promises she won't tell anyone, he feels relieved. Soon, they arrive in the city, but things take a turn when they see posters everywhere, with the princess's face labeled as wanted. Prince Merlot has spread them all over the city. When his soldiers spot her, they immediately start chasing her. While running, the princess quickly enters an alley and removes her magical shoes, turning back into her real form. Because of this, the soldiers fail to recognize her and leave. But just then, more soldiers show up and start harassing her over the magical shoes. At that moment, Merlin and Arthur pass by while searching for her. She calls out for help, but since she's in her real form, they don't recognize her and walk away. This breaks her heart, but suddenly Merlin returns. Using his magic, he saves her and tells her to take care of herself before leaving again. At that moment, the princess realizes that Merlin is truly kind from the heart. After that, she puts the magical shoes back on and transforms once again into a beautiful princess. As soon as Merlin's soldiers see her, they start chasing her again. But this time, Merlin arrives riding on the giant wooden bear, which is now his friend. He quickly rescues her, and they escape together. Soon, they reach a beautiful valley filled with flowers. Moments later, Arthur also arrives and asks about the wanted posters. The princess tells him it's all a lie. Meanwhile, Merlin runs through the valley, leaving behind a message to help find her father. Seeing this effort makes the princess really happy, and slowly, she starts falling in love with Merlin. Now, the princess is just about to kiss Merlin, but she suddenly stops herself. Instead, she pretends to blow flower petals off his face. But Arthur notices what's going on. He realizes Merlin is actually starting to impress her, and because of that, tension rises, and an argument breaks out between Arthur and Merlin. In the next scene, we see the princess back at the dwarves' house, where everyone is trying their best to impress her. But suddenly, Prince Merlot arrives with his soldiers, demanding to take the princess with him. The dwarves refuse, and this quickly turns into an intense fight. Merlot and his men are no match for them, and he's forced to run away to save his life. After this, the princess feels closer to Merlin than ever before. She's in love with him and doesn't want to hide anything anymore, so she tries to take off her magical shoes to show him her real form. But no matter how hard she tries, the shoes won't come off. Because of that, Merlin never gets to see her true self. Meanwhile, Merlot returns to Regina. Furious at his failure, Regina gives him and his 2 soldiers magical apples to eat. The moment they take a bite, they begin transforming into terrifying tree-like monsters. Back at the dwarves' place, their house has been destroyed during the fight, so together they all rebuild it. Soon after, Merlin and the princess set off toward the city, riding on flying robot machines powered by a magical broom. Once they reach above the city, they scatter missing posters of the princess's father all over the place, hoping someone might recognize him. While flying, Merlin gets lost in thoughts about the princess and accidentally crashes into a tree. They fall down and land near a river. There, the princess finally opens up. She tells Merlin that she likes him, and then she kisses him. For a moment, Merlin believes the curse is broken, but as soon as the princess looks at him again, he turns back into a dwarf, because according to the curse, it requires 2 kisses from the most beautiful girl to truly break it. This leaves Merlin heartbroken. Just then, monsters sent by Regina attack them. They try to escape, but the fight becomes intense. Merlin bravely stands his ground, fighting off the monsters one by one, but during the chaos, one of the monsters grabs him and jumps into the river. Seeing this, the princess doesn't hesitate. She dives in after him. Underwater, she finds Merlin trapped beneath a heavy rock. At that moment, she needs real strength, so she removes the magical shoes and returns to her true form, Snow White. But she has the strength to lift the rock and save Merlin. The wooden guard and the giant bear recognize her as Snow White, and they're happy, but Merlin isn't, because he had fallen in love with her magical appearance, not her real self. Without saying much, he walks away. This completely breaks her heart. Later, the giant bunny appears before Merlin. In a vision, it shows him his dwarf form and makes him realize something important. The princess didn't fall in love with his handsome appearance. She loved him even when he was a green dwarf, because she truly cares about who he is inside. That's when Merlin finally understands. Love isn't about looks, it's about the person. And this was exactly the lesson the fairy wanted to teach them with the curse. Realizing his mistake, Merlin rushes back to the princess, but at the same time, Regina disguises herself as Merlin and reaches the princess first. She tricks her and offers her a magical apple. Just as the princess is about to eat it, the real Merlin arrives. Regina's truth is finally exposed. Enraged, she reveals her true form, kidnaps the princess, and disappears. Seeing this, Merlin sends the wooden guards to inform his friends, and sets off with the giant bear to rescue her. Soon, the others learn everything and rush to help. Meanwhile, Regina has the princess tied up. The princess asks about her father, but Regina refuses to answer. Instead, she again offers her the magical apple. When the princess refuses, Regina uses a magical mirror to capture Merlin and bring him in front of her. She begins torturing him, unable to watch him suffer. The princess finally agrees to eat the magical apple in exchange for Merlin's freedom. The moment she eats it, something inside her begins to change. After this, the magical tree suddenly pulls Merlin toward itself. Desperate, Merlin asks what Regina is planning to do with the princess, and that's when the tree reveals a terrifying truth. Because she ate the magical apple, the princess will soon completely transform into a magical tree, and as soon as the first ray of sunlight touches it, the fruits of that tree will turn into magical shoes. But at the same time, the princess will die along with the tree. Hearing this, Merlin is devastated. He wants to save her at any cost, but the magical tree traps him inside the room, not letting him escape. Just then, his friends arrive and attack the magical mirror. A fierce battle breaks out between them and the mirror's power. Amid the chaos, Merlin finally manages to break free and rushes toward the princess. When he reaches her, it's already too late. She is fully transformed into a magical tree. At that moment, Regina is just about to pluck the magical shoes from the tree, but suddenly, Merlin appears. He grabs Regina and jumps with her into a deep abyss, ending her life instantly. And the moment Regina dies, her dark magic disappears. Because of that, everything begins to return to normal. The princess transforms back into her real form, and the giant bear also returns to his true identity. He was none other than the princess's father all along. The princess is overwhelmed with emotion as she reunites with her dad, but that happiness quickly turns into heartbreak. When she realizes that Merlin sacrificed his life to save her, she breaks down in tears. But then something unexpected happens. Merlin's friends arrive, carrying him with them. He's still alive. The moment she sees him, her face lights up with joy and kisses him. And this time, something changes. The curse finally breaks. Merlin transforms back into his true human form. Seeing his real self, the princess smiles with pure happiness, and in the end, Merlin and the princess get married, bringing this beautiful fairy tale to a perfect happy ending. If you enjoyed this video, then you should definitely check out this one, where a man ends up befriending a wolf. Trust me, it's a story you don't want to miss.